I think this little house may well be the house that we lived in 1941 before we moved to Portsmouth. Uh, it's on Jefferson Avenue, and there's a creek down behind it, which I recall finding some old books in, and across the street is all grown up now, but I've got some snapshots I want to show you of pictures taken on February the 9th, 1941, when Wilmer, Dad's father, Grace, his second wife, Vera, and Anita, his sisters, came up probably on a Sunday. February the 9th was a Sunday, to see them off. And first I'll show you. Okay, that's a picture of Fred and me, but this picture here is of Grace, Wilmer, Dad, Fred, Mother, Anita, and me. But this one is more telling. This is a snapshot. I want you to look at that house right there, because I'm going to show you that house in Google Earth when I go back to Google Earth. In fact, here's another one. The taker moved the camera so it's blurred, but here's the house again, which rather fixes this location on Jefferson Avenue as the place where we lived, and I'll show you why. There's one of Fred sitting on the car. It must have been probably Wilmer's car that he drove up there. That's really nothing. That's just what I scanned, and then I cropped all these other pictures out. But let's go back to Google Earth. Here's a little house I think we were standing in front of, probably right there. Across the street, that house doesn't exist anymore, and you can see this hillside is all grown up. So I suspect it was abandoned and property allowed to grow up. But I'm going to move. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to rotate around here, not too fast so you don't get dizzy. Here's the house I think we lived in. I'm just going to go right down the street to this point right here. And I'm going to look up. And this is the house I think you will see in this photo. See it right there. And see it here. I think it's unmistakably the same house. Here's a 1941 snapshot. I can show one that's a little clearer, not that it matters too much, because here's the house that I think we're looking at right here, and I can move on up just slightly up the street. It's actually probably not the same perspective, but you see, it's a nice brick home. Here, I'll show you what it really looks like in front view. It's a nice brick home that would have survived since 1941 rather easily. And then looking back up the street again, we'll go back, and these little houses on the right are modest, to say the least. Even in 1941, they were rental property. And you see that right back there is the gully that the creek is in, that I remember walking back to and finding books in. And but I wish they had taken a picture of this house so I would know for sure The only alternative is to come right down the street here to this new house, which would have replaced the rental property, of course. And from there, you can see the house that I'm using as a reference point right there. But I think this photo, see from here to here, looks closer than from this point to that. So I think that's why I think rather it's not this location that the rental house was in, but it's this one right here. That little house. This is wonderful technology, this Google Earth, that allows you to research something like this. All I really knew was Jefferson Avenue, Pulaski, and I went all the way up the street until I found terrain that looked like this, with a hill on this side of the road, which I had seen in the snapshots. And I saw these little modest little houses, which I recall it from that time that the house looked like this, similar to this. And then the fact that this house right here appears most definitely in the snapshots, and it pretty well fixes that location. So I'm going to call it, I want to call this the house that we lived in 1941. This one right here. Thanks for watching.